What is up, everybody, and welcome back to EGFCS Go Week 1. I'm Lowe's, he's Viking. You already know the vibes. We're about to get into the final match of the night. Iona College versus USA. USA. USA.
Keep it in spirit. And this should be one of the closer games that we see this evening because both teams averaging in that mid to high Nova range from their preseason interviews, that information that we got. As we look through on their face of ranks, again, pretty similar overall. So compared to some of the other, both of the other matches that we saw, both with DePaul and Marquette having very distinct player advantages in terms of their traditional skill ranking, we should anticipate to see a little bit more balance between it, or at least a more of a mystery elements of it. So we are ready to get into the knife round already. So let's check that out and see who's better with the blade.
For those of you who don't know, USA is University of South Alabama.
USA.
I got into the hype, I got caught into the hype.
How can you
Oh.
not, right?
Looks like USA easy. Coming through, slicing and dicing, earning themselves that first one. Wondering where they're going to choose to go going into that the first half. My guess is, like, it would be defense, Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to put yourself in the better position? And,
Looks like that's the case. Yeah, the PCO on the CT side. So USA takes the CT side as you predicted. And so we'll anticipate that we'll probably see them, playing as they normally do with that default over to 2 and 3 on A. And we'll probably see that through both sides.
having some push, a lot push through T mid. Ooh, and it's going to be Lepicio, the first one to fall, peeking out of apartments, and that's going to give Private Bean and Squad free reign of those apps. There is one player, Xpoth, in pit, holding it down, but 3 on your map is Jack Crispy, who doesn't have any chance to fight back as Dizzy's the first one to make a move, and now flying out of the apartments. It's Red Wolf picking up not 1, but 2. Now they're getting that bomb down.
Very tough position for Tiny to be in on this first round. Obviously going in favor of the T side here, and a very distinct message to put out there with that aggression, with those early shots, and still keeping 4 players up overall. Bait that 3, but still coming away with a victory. And so we'll kind of go through that first couple of rounds, song and dance now, as the teams get up to their first rifle rounds. But I'm kind of curious if we'll see any sort of unique aggression out of the USA side.
Nothing serious bought from either squad, They're sticking with pistols. They want to keep that economy going over for Iona. Just some Deagles and Tech Knives. Look at all those nades coming through. It takes out both Red Wolf and Dizzy's. Red Wolf manages to get one down before falling, but it's not enough. They're pushing. They're trying to keep that aggression going, and the rest of the squad, they run away through Banana, and only one manages to keep it holding down through Banana, but they gotta back down. They gotta go. They have to commit to sight, and now the rest of USA are flooding through Banana. Che, double XL, sitting in that corner by the sandbags, doesn't manage to get one, and now it's all up to Private Bean. He's hiding by coffins. Half the bomb has gone down, and nobody, I believe, is working with Diffuser. So if he could get this down, it could have been a crucial win, but no. JaCrispy should have this one under wraps.
Well, it's going to be pretty close.
Ooh.
All right, good. Just in the nick of time, being able to get that out. That was a very unexpected strategy by the T side, because traditionally you're gonna buy up and get some SMGs, or at least much heavier on the pistols and such, because you expect that you're gonna see minimal investment from the CT side. So obviously that did not go in their favor in that position. So trying to, I guess, try a bold strategy, but getting with those nades. Getting hit with those nades in mid definitely put a huge kibosh on those plans.
Lepicio trying to do a rerun of what he made on round 1. He does get some shots out, a little bit of tags over onto Dizzy's, but nothing serious. He will play his life and keep himself in the game. A nice nade over onto Tiny T with the off. He's going to take some damage, but through that smoke, nothing truly hopeful or disappointing for either squad right now. Just a bit of a default. They will back off away from Team Mid, away from apartments, and just run it back.
A little bit more aggression. Both teams just kind of feeling each other out. There was a lot more movement on the USA side than I would have anticipated, just kind of given where we're at in the round. I maybe would have guessed one of them started playing cheating towards Speedway, just because they obviously saw everybody starting to back off. And now with that pretty obvious movement going up into that B site, we'll see how fast that rotate comes in.
Tiny T with the AWP. He's waiting for anyone to push through that smoke, and they're not going to do it. They're doubling back. Another rotation coming in through Iona, but Lepicio's here to pick up the pieces. He manages to get one, but that's all he could get. And now it's all up to, I believe, XPOT, the last one alive on site. If they can manage to get someone through by library, yes! JaCrispy, he can't make a connection. He can't go through, but holding on to the site and their life, it was XPOT. Now they lost their lives and lost sight. One player creeping through library, another through that connector from CT. It's up to Tiny T with the AWP and Soju. This is a tough one.
Not a lot of utility to help. They do have those 2 flashes, so we'll probably see this flash in from Tiny. Maybe they try to get a pick off, but man, those positions on site are pretty tough to take.
Now waiting around the corner, Connor, he's gonna pick up both of them. And while it was such a close opportunity because Che got dropped down, they weren't expecting him to sit on that box and clean him up.
That's a heartbreaker. You get that first kill and you start to, feel that little ember of hope building up inside of you, thinking, we're going to do it. I'm going to make everybody proud. And then you just see Connor destroy all their hopes and dreams in one fell swoop. And with that, we're back to a situation where the CTs are forced to save.
Here lies USA's hopes and dreams.
What a metaphor. What a metaphor.
Okay, just a little bit of default right now. Maybe a little bit of Team Mid. Nothing crazy. USA might get a bit of aggression coming through from apartments, looking for that tap over onto T-Abs. JaCrispy barely escapes with his life, and he's going to be swapping out with XPOT, who gets a few more bullets over into T's, but nothing serious just yet. Actually, Red Wolf barely holding on to his life. Tiny T with the flank on the USP. He finds 2. And now they're actually able to converge on this one. He's all alone in apartments, but he's staying alive. Finding 2. He's keeping himself in this game. Him and Red Wolf, they're holding it down. But Red Wolf, he's way far. He's going in for a potential flank right now.
This is a 4D chest that we're witnessing right now. And it works out really well in favor of Red Wolf's thing there, especially dealing with the fact that they have no HP left.
Swinging this corner. They know he's there, and they come out with both of their lives and the round win.
If I'm the CTs on that side, USA just came away with a huge victory in that sense, because even though they ultimately didn't win the round, they were able to put down so much damage. They were able to take the AWP out of their hands. It's no longer on the field. There's a bunch of great things that happen there, and I think it shows them that once they get those guns back in their hands, they've got a really good chance of making up the gap that currently exists between the 2 sides.
They lost the round, but it made it costly. It was very expensive. Soju here with the deagle finds one and gets away.
It was a great opening pick, and it seems like the T's are fully committed to that, so you'll see the rotations come out from the CT side. You'll get those 3 people moving into bomb site and see if they can do anything with those pistols.
Ooh, Soju still somehow alive after taking some body shots. He's hiding in dark, and they still haven't managed to kill him. But there it is, finally. Red Wolf picking it up. One more player hiding in dark. They don't last forever, and still, it's a 3v3. Things are actually looking quite good for USA right now. They have the ability to take this one back, and coming out with the deagle, Lepizio. He just made it that much easier. Now he's got an AK to his name. Both players sitting back in dark. Red Wolf, he's waiting for that peek, but he won't get it. But Che still gets that wall bang and finds that angle. And now they can plant the bomb. It's all up to XPOT. 1v2.
Doesn't seem like they quite know where he is either, so this is an opportunity to play around some of those angles, although Che obviously looking towards Church is going to find that pretty easily, but picking up the AK, this could be a very different round very quickly.
It's just one bullet in each enemy, and you're walking out with this round. You know where they are, or he must assume they were both in dark, but it doesn't matter if he knew or not, because he got shot. Red Wolf holds it down for Iona.
Another one of those very close rounds with not a lot of investment from South Alabama in that position. So I'm expecting now that we have some guns, we're going back to what that round 3 looked like a little bit, with everybody coming together in a little bit more of an equal firepower situation. So we'll see if they change up their strategy at all. But we're seeing a little bit of that early round aggression, a little bit of those grenades, and Iona is moving towards the A site, which they haven't had a ton of success with. As they try to get that Molly into apartments and just remind themselves to stay warm out there.
Yeah, not quite. It's a little chilly in Italy this time of year, you know.
They're doing their best, you know. You gotta remember that if you don't have a sweater, to look for alternate means of heat.
Oh, Lapizio is not having anybody come out through porch. No, not gonna happen. He's holding on to that angle. Connor, it's such a far out push over onto B, where nobody else on his squad is, just to try and make some noise. But they already know. They already know enemies are pushing over into A. One in pit. He caught him. He's gonna hold on to that for now, and they're gonna have to double back. We can see that Tiny T expects a rotation, but he's very cautious before moving into CD. Gonna hold on to that angle by construction and not giving this site up just yet. Here comes the HE. He's running around in through church, gonna hold it by coffins. Might pick one out. He gets one. Might get a second. He gets a second. That's a bomb down. And now it's all up to Che to hold this one down, find that pick over in construction, and somehow walk away with the win. And looking to be impossible at this moment.
Exactly. It's kind of what we saw in the previous rounds, where we saw those hints of just craziness happening from the South Alabama side. And now with weapons in their hands, with equal firepower, definitely making a huge difference. Easy to clean up that round. Great play from Tiny. I think we were both a little worried that they were about to over rotate and miss the entrance onto the B site, but sniffs it out at the last second, holds on there, gets some of that great kills and angles coming from the church side. Just very good to watch. Very, very good, well played Counter Strike in that round.
And now finally Iona put in the back foot because they have just pistols to work with. Full buys coming over from US. Well, I mean, some from houses, but you know, full rifles coming out. And that's going to be very hard to deal with. But regardless, Iona College running it up into B, trying to find a first kill. Che going to be the first one to send a 1D over into Tiny T, and now they do have control of site, but they won't be holding on to it for much longer as Soju, swinging out from construction, manages to get one, and they are being picked apart in the crossfire. The most that they can try and do is Che get some one-taps as well as he can, finds a second. This is actually doable now, Viking.
I am in awe of how these rounds seem to be going one direction, and then you take a breath, you're talking about how great something was, and then all of a sudden it's the entirely opposite.
Oh, he swung out from construction by coffins, and he actually lost to Che. But even though he manages to turn it into a 1v1, the trade is there. That was way more dangerous than it had any right to be.
I think we're exactly starting to see some of the skill gaps being lesser, playing out into better gameplay in terms of how we're seeing these rounds. And I am incredibly excited to see how these become incredibly unpredictable and therefore much more interesting, as we can never count one team or the other out of any particular round.
Without a doubt. I'm, not to discredit the teams that have played before, but equal plays make for a much more exciting Counter-Strike.
Quite so. Very well said.
Private Bean looking up, trying to get the head of somebody who's waiting up in apartments. They're going to have to back off. Tiny T making their way through mid after that flank. They're going to have to check behind them because they are not done clearing it out just yet. Running out of ammo. Connor's going to take advantage of that, but will be traded out by Soju. Soju swinging around the corner to find that second kill over onto Private Bean.
Iona not being able to do a lot with that round, obviously, with minor investment, they're able to buy back now, and that's what's ultimately the most important. Connor is there taking back that op to try to get something in some of those early mid-round picks. We haven't seen a ton of peeking from South Alabama in those positions, so whether or not they'll be able to make the most early round use out of it is another question. But as I say that, oh, the leg.
Not gonna be enough. Sending a blind one into the smoke, just hoping for something, as well as the nade. Maybe you could pick somebody off with that one, but will not happen. They're bail out of that mid push, and they're gonna have to bail out a lot here because Soju and Dizzy's or Tiny T held it down over into B, leaving only Connor to try and pull out a win from this one. But I mean, we've seen some great plays coming out from this squad. And it is very doable, especially with Connor. He's on the op right now. If he gets some unnecessary pushes from USA, this is totally winnable. But he's got 1 minute on the clock to get that bomb down. He's got to make a move at least sometime soon.
Yeah, it's certainly a battle of patience and trying to see which person's going to move fast. I really like that South Alabama right now is staying put. They know that they have to wait for the plant. The bomb's not down, so there's no reason for them to give it unnecessary peek. They know that there's an op out there. Whether or not they realize that with Connor is kind of irrelevant because they just give the opportunity to see what happens. Now the bomb down, they know that they can move in a little bit closer.
What was interesting is that all the way over with Lapizio, they didn't even question. Like, they were holding it down from mid, just waiting, because they weren't exactly sure if Connor was on site. But now they know. Connor turned it into a 1v2. If he spots out Xbox, he might have this. He misses the first shot. He has to go for a second. Will he get this? Gotta look to your left, because there he is. Lapizio, he's creeping around. He's trying to get this swing onto him, but he's not around the corner on Dark. He has to go for the fake, maybe. But he misses the shot. Both of them miss. And now, actually, Connor has won the round by stalling it out.
That was lovely to watch. I appreciate that play from Connor. My favorite position on the B site is that back position, just giving the opportunity to play around that column, get it's just big enough that playing ring around the rosy and buying time, especially in those post plant situations, is one of the best positions you can hope to be in because of the flexibility, because of that depth, because of how much time it takes to fake out people as you go. And Connor played that so well. He missed a couple of shots, but ultimately he hit the two that mattered. He got that clock down to almost nothing, and at the end of the day, the time is what matters the most. And that bomb down.
That was insane. I can't believe they pulled that one off. But now Connor also doing some work, but will be traded out. We're just going to look at his body for a little bit because it's exciting. And JaCrispy now swinging over to try and get somebody who's still in apartments. Dizzy's won't be able to make it through. The Deagle shots are coming in crispy. Private Bean makes their way through Boiler, and this site is all but theirs. One player left in pits, and they said, you know what? You can keep it. They're swapping and rotating over to B's site. JaCrispy left all alone in pit, and I think we might have one player. We might have Red Wolf just say, you know what? I'm low on health. I'll wait out. And there it is. He got him. JaCrispy had no idea he was going to stick around. And why would they think that? If it was a full rotation, the bomb was planted, why would someone be creeping around? A very well played round by Iona right now. They're making Inferno look T-sided.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we're seeing these situations round around where with a couple of those early digs that we saw out of USA, like they're still making each one of these rounds painful. There is no situation where either side is getting away with a clean round. I don't think we've had any rounds with all 5 members of either team still living at the end of it. So in any of these cases, we're still in these situations where we kind of have a hint of where things are going. I think in that round, the way Iona executed was really great. Having Red Wolf sit there and make sure that there was no threat, no matter what happened the rest of the round, was an excellent play. And now we're back in this situation where they're making this attempt to get into the B bomb site, which seems to be their most favored. Although looking at the combination of the team of Tiny T and Soju having been shut down a couple times, I'm a little surprised that they haven't tried the A site outright a little bit more. But obviously they're moving that direction, so clearly I know what's happening.
This team likes to play and rotate a lot. Oh, Expo won't be able to hold in pit to get any frags, and now it will be a rotation coming in from B site. Tiny T and Soju don't have a great opportunity at the moment because everyone over on Iona College is dug in tightly.
But they are the two top fraggers on this site, just again because they're getting that favored B site attention. So if they wanted to go for it, they would be the people you want. But in 2v4 with full equipment and the bomb down to where it was, certainly no need to take unnecessary risks. they probably won't see very many exit frags. But as we see both of them trying to move into position, it's for Tiny to get some of those mid frags. Who knows? Maybe.
Let's see. Tiny in position, but no one is going to go straight into mid. You know, you got to play safely and
Yeah.
keep those rifles.
Absolutely, especially because we look at the economy now. You know, your highest bank on the T side is still just over $5,000. So every dollar counts, and it's especially true on the CT side where we see that mixed buy of Hero M4, FAMAS, and then some pistols. Not to say that that necessarily puts them at a disadvantage from what we've seen before, but certainly it's always a little bit more comfortable when you got that rifle in your hands.
Absolutely. Connor here with the op. Oh, not quite. Almost got him. Doesn't get any leg action or anything. But, you know, now they will be very aware to not look down mid. And Xboth and JaCrispy holding down apartments quite well. They do have an extra rifle to their names if they can manage to claim it. But there's another player who's ensuring that you will get no spoils from this first pick.
Yeah, always good not to be too greedy when you have those situations and just kind of wait and hope that you can get to that later. But it was enough, obviously, you know, to force the T's to rethink that their engagement on A, which now means that they're going to move towards that B bomb site. We're going to see Tiny with the M4 and a little bit of Soju coming back to that position. So the two rifles on the CT side are moving to the B front where we have the bomb coming into it. So if there's a chance for them to win this round, it's probably the best one that they have. Although, wow, that was quite a shot.
Great swing by Dizzy's. And now another shot over by Connor onto B, isolating these two players. It's JaCrispy making this actually a little bit more doable. 3 rifles on the side of USA, but this player right now, JaCrispy, doesn't know that it's a full commitment onto B. But then again, when it comes to Iona, it's never a full commitment.
Yeah, as you say, they're stalled out a little bit there because of some of that counter utility, and that stall allows a little bit better positioning. And now University of South Alabama is in possession of the bomb, and you really got to think, you know, for Connor on that op, he should know that he's got 2 players on low health, so it's possible. But you know, with the way things turned out in terms of timing and all that kind of things, it just wasn't in the cards. So the save, they'll maintain the op, and they've got enough money to buy around that.
All right, finally back on a good footing right now for USA. 5-7 current score. Still very great showings from both of these squads right now.
Very much so. I appreciate that we have a pretty close scoreline overall. We're seeing some of these really great plays regardless of the situation that's happening. And now we're seeing a little bit more aggression, which unfortunately for Tiny T does not work out in his favor, as Connor is starting to stretch his legs with that op a little bit more aggressively. I make sure that people know that his presence is known on this map.
Oh yeah, Connor is definitely showing USA that the op is his. He knows what he's doing, but I'm going to switch over to that AK, actually. Oh, no, just picking some stuff up. Going to back up with that op. Now, finally, they will have a bit of a rotation. Xboth is going to have to come through and try and make something happen. But look at JaCrispy. He's hiding. He's almost by Boiler. He might catch somebody off guard. And he does. It's Connor, that star op. And now he has the op for himself, sending out a instant over into pit. Always a deadly position, forcing Dizzy's out.
Sitting, oh man, the 2K from Dizzy. Does he feel that coming from the library? No. Awesome. Should we? Just kidding.
Oh!
Private Bean.
Private
Erasing
Bean!
any chance. Oof.
That was such a nice flick. It almost looked like the last player was coming in to say hello. Private Bean says goodbye with 2 nice headshots, giving them their 8th round. And, you know, the economy right now at this point is, it's looking kind of okay for Iona. We do have 5K over on Private Bean, but Connor right now running with 0. Red Wolf 150. They have to hold on to this round, and we know that USA, they're very good at wasting Iona's money, and Iona's very good at wasting utility.
It was a bit of an oops, and $300 is gone. But you know, what matters is that they tried. And seeing that USP kill, USA is trying to make the best out of this as they always do. And like you said, money's pretty tight on the T side right now. So if South Alabama makes this a very expensive round, as they have certainly the capability of doing. Or if they were even to win this round, it would be very difficult for Iona to buy back into this, just sort of based on how the back and forth has been over the last couple of rounds.
Well, now they're converging onto Soju. I don't think they see him. He's got an opportunity to go massive. He finds one after a lot of the shots, but Connor's going to put that to rest with a no-scope. Xboth and Tiny T coming in for the retake, but actually Dizzy's, he's already in CT. He got that flank onto Tiny T. He had no idea where that was coming from. Last one is Xboth. He might find his counterpart, but no. Dizzy's is going to win out that duel.
So we're going to see a reasonable buy off the CT side here now, trying to get that last round on the board, make it a 6-9 scoreline going into the half. Again, one of the closer matches that the closer halves that we've seen across the board in the last two maps that we have. So very excited to see that kind of play happening. And I'm curious to see if South Alabama is going to try to make any adjustments, because I think what they've done has kind of stacked some of their higher scoring players on the B site, and that's left A a little bit exposed in some cases. But again, with the way that Iona College has been favoring that B site, certainly don't blame them for trying, as missing one of the guns on the CT side as they sit by the half wall.
Dizzy's coming through apps, trying to suss out any information. He must know somebody's in pit. He must know that Xboth likes to hang out there. But the first one's going to go on to JaCrispy. Will he follow up? It's going to be Xboth. He's holding it down. He actually comes in through for the trade, and nobody is left in a good position to try and take A. They do have Boiler, but what else do they have? It's nothing. They're going to try and get this flank. Let's check out what Soju can do. He goes for that peek, but you got to look to the right. You know somebody's there, and he gets the kill. And this is so winnable now for University of South Alabama, and Lepizio makes it that much more so. Stopping Shea from getting onto the site is a 1v1, but Private Bean, he's making it even worse. Now he has to hold it down. It's 1v2 situation. He doesn't even want to plant the bomb. He's going to fake it out, and they're not buying it just yet. Soju and Tiny T coming from the same angle. They thought that chicken might have been a person in Graveyard, but it wasn't. Private Bean sending out the nade. Private Bean wasn't sure himself. He was checking it out. And finally, the bomb's going to come down, and both players, they're going to flank around, or they're going to swing. They have to fire at the same time. If Private Bean turns this into a 1v1, it's not going to be possible. Private Bean, he's got to swing it now or do something. Coming out with the USP, it's Tiny T, and he clutches it out. Tiny T makes this a 6-9 half in such a desperate situation. He pulls it back for USA.
What a hero Tiny has been for his team, first in some of those really incredible holds, partnering with Soju over on that B site, coming in super clutch in this last round, making sure that there wasn't too much of a gap. Certainly 6-9 is always better than 10-5 for a variety of reasons. But now as they come into this next half and we see USA switch over to the T side, we have the opportunity to see what sort of strategies that they bring once they're on offense.
Yeah, 6-9 is, it's a nice score. Now... Sorry. Okay, now we're going into this first pistol round. It's Lepizio and crew. They're pushing up in a pretty aggressive way, going up B. Only two players holding it down. That Molly does hold them off for a little bit. Lepizio walks in for some 8 damage, but they're going to be okay. And they know that the rotation is coming through. Iona, they're flanking around, or USA is flanking around, trying to make this happen. But Tiny T, they're rushing onto site. Connor, though, buys one before he retreats into construction. They're getting that bomb down by Coffins, and Tiny T holding it down again. No one can come from this angle unless he allows it. Red Wolf, however, getting some solid shots over from CT, and it's going to be Dizzy's holding it down, and Red Wolf picks up another. It's a lockdown pistol round over for Iona.
USA tried the tried and true rush B, don't stop, give it your best. They got hung up a little bit because of those flash and lost one of their players. Had a great plant situation, but ultimately just lose those one-on-ones by giving it to the USP headshots over in that church area and going down 2 people to Red Wolf and just creating a really difficult position overall. So we now see Iona go up to that 10th round. We're starting into the next one, and now with the economic advantage, although with the CTs choosing to buy up around that, maybe we'll see something different.
Anything is possible. Anything is possible here, but now it's going to be a rush on over to A. Let's see what can happen. I mean, there is somebody waiting by Boiler. It's, I believe, oh, It will work out a little bit. They do manage to get a trade, but here is the flank coming in from Iona. They're holding it down quite well, but running out of the porch, it will be Soju. Now they've got things under control, at least for the time being. JaCrispy getting the bomb down, and it's all up to Private Bean. But JaCrispy has 3 health. He's essentially just a breath of air from falling down. He does pick up JaCrispy, but Tiny T is there for the trade out. And they hold on to that force round, and they're looking pretty good so far.
That was an excellent answer to the situation coming out of the first round, giving them the opportunity to really make sure that they took advantage again of those strong potential that we see, regardless of what the weapons package that they're running is. Really great post plant, really notable effort from Private Bean, who's seen a lot of his friends, die in the field of battle. And is trying to take revenge whenever he possibly can. So lovely to see that close to the round. And as we come into this round, we'll expect to probably see not a lot coming out of the T's or CT side, excuse me, because of obviously what we've seen there. But Red Wolf on that Nova, yeah, we've seen some weirder stuff happen over the last couple of rounds. So maybe we'll see some hero shotguns.
Well, shotguns have made their plays in this series, or at least this stream tonight so far. There has been some proof for it with the XM stylization on that, but not yet. That's not happening this round.
give it a second. We'll see. Maybe. Well, we got one Deagle left and a P250. I've seen P250s do some pretty crazy work, and Shea already making an impact known with the Deagle. So there's still some opportunities for the CTs to come away with a little bit more. Although now it's become a particularly difficult situation where, once again, Private Bean is alone against a mob of T side.
Private Bean essentially just going to throw their life on the line. There's not much you could do when you're running with the USP into 3 rifles. So just give it all you got, Bean, and try and have fun.
Yeah, and at this point, it's not really worth saving the head armor just because of kind of the economic situation of the rest of the team. But if you can get something out of it, especially some of those entry frags, again, we've talked about it several times, but they really like the opportunity to just make each round as expensive as they can for each one. Private Bean already on the PTO doing some pretty good work there.
Yeah, I mean, it only was, I believe, a Galil, but it's still a rifle. It's still costly because look at their money. They are going to be spending a good amount this round. Soju doesn't have enough to buy a rifle. We'll have to get one from his friend, and it is another Galil, so nothing crazy going into this round. They do have an op at this moment, so it should be an interesting look down mid. Let's see what happens. We've seen quite a few legs, but finally Tiny T hits the mark, puts him in the chest, and puts him on the ground. We have a potential response here from Dizzy's. Actually, no. They're not going to risk that one.
I don't blame them. It is one of the dangers of taking some of those early rounds. Wow, Dizzy doing great work on USA, getting off JaCrispy and Soju, 2 of the higher impact players from the University of South Alabama.
That was crucial, and Private Bean's little peek headshot was as well. And now last 2 players on USA sitting in banana, not sure what to do. They have the bomb, they have an op, as well as an AK, but they're gonna decide we gotta actualize, we gotta put a set piece down over onto B, make a play or something. This is not a round you save, but he will leave the op behind, picks up the AK, tries to avenge his teammate. He does. Connor goes down. 2 more players are defending this site, smoking off the rest of Church, and CT has to clear out Dark, and he does. Tiny T looking pretty dangerous right now. Hiding in Dark has 3 frags. He has to ace if he wants to pull off this round. And you know what? I think he can do it.
Absolutely. I mean, Shea's still a ways away. Obviously, he's not really sure where everybody is, but the opportunity to just make all of these 1v1s is Shea's trying to buy a little bit of time as he makes that run. But oh, wow. The headshot means this is a very dangerous situation. It's Dizzy only on 12 HP for the rest of the round.
He's got 15 seconds. It's a 1v1 Dizzy. You don't have to do much damage to him either. He's got 24. Now he's going for the swing, but he knew he would do that. And Tiny T comes out with the ace and goes massive for his team on USA. Oh my God, Tiny T.
Whew. Tiny has gone to Walmart, picked out his favorite looking backpack, put it on put it on his shoulders, tied up those straps, and put the rest of his team in it for that round to make sure that they came away with that win and didn't let Iona get past that 10th round. Amazing work around that, and excellent efforts by the CT to try to dash those hopes and dreams, as we like to do here on the stream. But amazing work, and great to see this going into the 20th round.
Oh my God. If you are Iona and that just happened to you, you cannot be feeling good right now. You cannot have a strong mental losing what should have been such a winnable opportunity by just running down the clock. You know, Che didn't need to present himself in those final moments. They could have waited for the plant. They didn't have to do it, but oh man, that has got to hurt.
Gonna hit right at that soul. But we're in a position where at least they still had the round advantage, so Iona has the opportunity to, with a little bit of breathing room, not too much, because obviously this is such a momentum-based game that once you start seeing people climb back the way that USA is doing right now, it's really tough to find that gap and make that to close that over time. But at least they're not facing a lot of the situations that we've seen earlier where you might have gotten to 10 rounds, but you're still staring down the face of 15 on the other side.
Ooh, Red Wolf looking through into construction. Only finds a bullet to his dome, but Che coming around with the one dig might be able to add some more body counts onto this round. Make it more expensive for him. Wait, is that it? Did he have a Zeus? Is that a
Sure
Zeus?
did. Of course he does, Los. We're round 20 out of the game. We haven't seen a taser yet, so it's time.
Well, I mean, if someone was gonna Zeus another player, I'd imagine it would be Tiny T to do it.
I think Tiny will be the first to potentially hit a 30 bomb this map as well. I think that we've seen all day, actually.
I mean, it only takes one. He might even get higher than that. Potentially even a, dare I say, 40 bomb Viking?
Oh, well, now that you said it, they're probably going to fall apart, and Iona's going to come
They're about to get rolled 6 more rounds for Iona. GG. Go next. If that happens, I'll be upset.
I'm gonna tell them it was you.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'll take full responsibility for that one. I understand when I make a mistake.
Just gotta make sure that we clip that into a chat for Brett.
Speaking of mistakes, I'm pretty sure Xbox just flashed the rest of his team moving up banana.
Yeah, well, it happens. Who hasn't occasionally flashed their teammates, leading to their not death in this case, but certainly we'll see some probably colorful comms.
And this secondary push going on over to A through apartments, through mid, just was not fruitful at all, and Iona didn't buy it either. They knew exactly where everyone was coming from, either through mid or through apartments, and they didn't budge over on B side, because they knew that USA is a tricky little group, and they held steadfast onto their sights. The bomb does manage to get planted, but now, well, I mean, it's Tiny T. He's the last one alive. If anyone is gonna win this round, it's gonna be Tiny T, and he starts off with one, finds a second. Are you kidding me? And a team nade! A team nade killed one of the other players and making it a 1v1. He didn't know where it's coming from. Tiny T clutches out another round. This is impossible.
That is unbelievable. He must have 4-leaf clovers just tattooed everywhere, because that was possibly the luckiest way that round could have played out, asking for a team nade for the spray down situations and those 1v1 challenges. That is the basic highlight if I've ever seen one.
Oh my god. Tiny T is a walking highlight machine. Lapicio gonna kick this one off, picking off Dizzy's, but it will get him a lot of damage onto himself. Tiny T coming through, about to send a nade up. Maybe they can play off of that. A lot of weapon hot potato switching, see what's happening. But no, Private Bean, he's had enough. They know that USA likes to hang out in banana, likes to do those slow pushes onto B. Private Bean says, you know what? I'm taking the fight to you. Does manage to get to one, has to hide underground, and will stay there for just a little bit, Does allow himself to play his life, go back to team mid, and maybe swing around from wagon. Hold on to himself. And look, they return over in to banana. They are so slow on this ascent to Soju. with a nasty headshot. And now it's time to make their dreams come true. Tiny T picking up the second kill, and now B site is all but open, but they don't know that just yet. Che is coming in for the flank, but I guess they realize that they're turning around, and Che's turning around too. He's got to get out of there, but he tries to save the op. He manages to turn the corner, and he does get away so close with 8 HP. I think if they get this bomb down, they might consider hunting him, but no, that would be a total misplay. I can't believe he got away with that one, Viking.
Yeah, that was just one, little toe shot worth of HP left, and they managed to keep the op, which has been such a crucial part of their defense, in trying to just soften up some of these attacks. I did really like, as you mentioned, Private Bean deciding to take the fight to them a little bit, changing up the way that they're playing the A side, especially because they've basically been in this situation where they've drawn these two lines. They'll come up to one another very close in the apartments area, and they'll flirt with the idea of pushing into that site, but they haven't quite committed to that. But they are getting some of the damage, or at least some of the mental, the physical benefit of keeping a player there. That time around, with them sitting in a banana, taking a little bit more of a risk to push a little bit further up, show a little bit of aggression, paid off with some of those early kills. Ultimately, it didn't work out because you had Private Being get caught out in mid from the player from T Ramp. But a little bit more of like that would probably bear quite a bit of fruit for them, just because of the way everybody's kind of thinking through their early round strategies.
Mapizio with that first pick. Connor used to be the op ace, now not looking so hot.
That's a rough early round, but the opportunity to pick that back up on Private Bean now, I'm sure that everybody kind of values the op in the same way. Give the opportunity to, again, if they're going to push towards that A side a little bit, which, certainly would make sense at some capacity, at least they've got something to answer.
It's a good opportunity to come back.
One of the best.
I'd just like to point out right now that Iona has only won a single round this half.
It's yeah.
Ooh, there comes Private Bean back with a nice headshot from Graveyard, but that will slow the fake push coming on to A. But how will the players on B side respond with a nice headshot through the smoke? Dizzy's is going to kick off this attack to a unfortunate start for USA. They're rotating over onto site. He's got Fountain now supporting Che or Red Wolf. They're going to have to hold it down, but the first fight shot will be JaCrispy coming through. He's looking to get some more, but they don't fully clear the back, and somehow Tiny T ends up killing himself. I'm not sure how that happened. Must have had a bind, because with those skull and crossbones,
Maybe
accidentally had that misinput.
Himself, maybe.
That is
whatever it was. That was not what USA would be hoping for in that situation, considering the impact that Tiny has had over the last several rounds. But to your point, now we've got Iona on 2 rounds for the half, and maybe building into something that's a little bit more momentum possibility, just because USA is forced to go back to their SMGs. We'll probably see a MAT 10 rush, looks like, towards apartments.
Oh yeah, look at all of them in conjunction, getting ready to take the action over onto A site. They're getting ready, pushing up through mid, going around Boiler, and now they're exploding onto site. Connor and Che aren't really having much of this, but running out of ammo. JaCrispy's taking advantage of that position and literally jumps him. And now this is an opportunity to get this bomb down.
Getting in their exercise and their aim practice at the same time, it works out very well for the T side in this case. And honestly, if I'm Iona College, just kind of looking at our money situation, unless they get an immediate pick here, I would not blame them for pulling back out. Although that pick and that low effort on JaCrispy makes this very winnable. Nice cleanup by Private Bean there. And I think we're starting to see some of these players come alive a little bit. I don't know if it's just, getting a couple of those shots and a couple of those kills, rebuilding the confidence of the individual players or what, but it's definitely making a big difference.
Yeah, that was looking like an intimidating retake coming over for Iona, but they actually managed to do it quite nicely. And now we're going to have a timeout coming through from the University of South Alabama. They might feel that their steam is slowly fading after losing the last 2 rounds. I mean, it is entirely possible. Their money isn't looking super nice. They have to, well, it does seem that they could all at least afford armor and a rifle. But if you're not going to have full utility, which they've been relying on so much throughout this, as any team would, it's going to be a little bit too tough.
It is. It's interesting because as you get close to these end rounds, like you were saying, it's harder and harder to make choices because you don't have the same level of the same time plane to be working with, to think through your strategy, to think through whether it's worth saving here or there. When you get to round 12, it's still definitely worth it. But with Iona keeping up with them neck and neck at this point, they're looking to get as many rounds on the board because, like you said, when you only have 2 rounds in the second half, that's not statistically in your favor to allow any breathing room for the opposite team. So even with these Glocks coming, assuming that that's what they stick with, it's possible that we might see like some Tech 9s and rushes because some of those rushes have at least gotten the bomb down. We saw that with the MAC 10 push before. There's definitely some opportunities for USA to still make this very uncomfortable for the Iona College side.
Well, statistically speaking, Iona has tripled their round wins on this
Wow.
half.
Look at that math. How talented are we, right?
There's a reason we're called broadcast talent.
Hey.
This
Every
is
day of
gonna
the
be
week, I'll take it.
this is
I
gonna
went
be
to
a hard.
college.
It's gonna be a hard takeover for USA. Just gonna be one of those. I wouldn't want to say specifically garbage rounds, but I can't imagine them coming out with a victory. Main goal is to do what Iona College was pretty successful at, is making rounds expensive.
Exactly. I think we'll probably see some of the early picks just sort of based on how they're splitting up right now, trying to get something worth anything out of it. And that miss smoke, those types of things are going to create opportunities for you to get some of those 1 digs, potentially pick up some guns or even the round.
Nice angle for Dizzy's there, picking up the first one of the round. Might find a second frag if he continues his way through apartments, but he's got to make sure he looks left, and he does it! Oh, that was almost lost. Soju does manage to get that rifle, and he's made it just a little bit more expensive for Iona. Now they have a rifle to work with, and they still are pretty nasty with those deagles.
Pretty good start. I'm gonna blame Soju's challenge there with the Deagle nerf from the last patch, and just we'll chalk it up to that. But as you said, they have a round now. They got something to work with. They do have the number advantage, and they do have the strength and grit of the USA backing them up as they try to think about attacking that B site. And if they're able to get one of these first picks just through overwhelming force, I think they're in a good spot.
Oh, the lineup is not looking crispy for Red Wolf, but he does manage to get 2 of them before being traded out. Oh, Connor back on his vibes, picking up 2 nice quick shots with the op.
They did make it a little bit uncomfortable. You see that the CTs are now forced to buy it down under 2K on at least 2 of them. Connor still existing with the op, had to buy Dizzy for that round. But that type of momentum is nice because it's, again, just continuing to put that thought in your head, like you're never safe. You can't breathe. You can't let yourself go because we're going to be there to capitalize on any mistake that you make round after round after round and just keep pounding away at any advantage that they can find.
Well, let's see who takes the first advantage right now in this first duel between Soju and Dizzy's. It will be Soju taking that first duel. I don't think he even got a hit on him. A nice, quick kill. And now they have control of apartments, sending out flames, so nobody pushes up through boilers. This is their territory now. But they are realizing or actualizing a rotation over here. Only 1 player left to defend B. That's going to be Connor, but he has the op, so it should be a tough one to attack if he at least gets 1 kill. Now the rotation's coming through. Red Wolf realizes this is a feint, as they always like to do with University of South Alabama, and he's going to support his homie on B.
And you see USA kind of frozen at the top of the banana, just kind of waiting for information. And even Lupizio, as he knows that there's a player sitting on this corner spot, or at least around in sight, they're just missing each other with the timing, and neither of them are quite willing to commit to that aggressiveness. So we're seeing this execute going to the B site. Now that the rotate has gone off onto the A site, they're going to have to hustle back to try to get out there. And if USA is not committing, what a big brain move. Oh, they're going to commit 1 player to commit to the fake, but boy, they're going for that A site like a champion.
Well, they are going in strong and hard, and Shay does manage to cut one down before being dropped himself. And Crispy, he gets onto the site as a fake, and oh no, that is not what you want to do. If you are defending that site, you catch him off guard, but the flick from Crispy is too good. That is unfortunate for Iona, and that's forcing Red Wolf to save that M4.
That was a textbook misdirect by South Alabama, and it could not have played out better for them if they had control over how things were moving. They rotate one way. They got, almost committed to the site. They pull them back the other way. They get enough information and enough confidence in that move to really make that stick. And now they're coming away with a round that wasn't a particularly huge investment on their part. They got plenty of money going to the next round because of the bomb down, but they have again put the CTs in a position where they have to think about now they have to think about they have to execute on this round, because if they go down, they're not going to be able to buy rifles, and that's an automatic almost 15th round for South Alabama. Then you're dealing with match point on a particularly bad buy situation.
Yeah, I'm just a huge fan of how neck and neck these rounds are going. 13-13. This is such a good matchup right now. Ooh, a bit of a classic USA util, flashing your teammates.
Listen, this is a tradition. It's a tradition for all of us.
Of course. Dizzy's having a back up over apartments, but actually manages to get that first frag. Holds on to his life as Soju, he's too far back to be able to provide that trade support. Makes their way down to Boiler, potentially seeing if anyone is going to slip up. But they might find that. It's number 8. Che. He's looking through. If he gets a quick swing, he might be able to make something work, but he will not. He's going to back off instead. Potentially keep working through apartments and in some capacity support his teammates who, these tricky USA players, they love to hang out on banana. Now here comes 2 smokes, but are they going to execute? That's always a question we have to wonder. Are they going to commit to any of the utility they use? And it does seem to be so. They're moving through Connor, though. He cuts him down by a third, and he finds a second. Will he find a third? He's too smoked off, but he doesn't need to because he's got support from Red Wolf, who's blind firing both through the smoke and while he's blind. Actually, Soju, last one alive, and not too much confidence in this take right here.
It really seemed like Iona learned from that last round where they were chasing geese, whatever, wild geese. That's the saying that I was trying to get to. Going back and forth, in that time around, they chose, they knew that they had some information about the players in Banana. They chose to really commit to the B site, and in that case, while USA has had this benefit of being able to sit in a place, whether it's top of Banana, top of mid, or whatever the case may be, and kind of feel things out, because the other team can never really be sure if they're committing one way or the other. That worked out in to their disadvantage this time around because of that commit by Iona and some really excellent crossplay.
Oh, there comes the first kill by Soju. Took control of apartments and got an upgrade to that AK. Swinging outside, he's going to give support over from the Prezio, who now has that bomb down, and now they're going to upgrade. Going from the MAC 10s to the AK-47s. 3 players looking to try and retake, but they're actually going to give this one up. They're going to save because they don't want to be on a broke economy going forward, because it's so close to being a match point. It's so close to being the end of this map. They want to play it as safe as possible.
This is exactly the situation that we were talking about trying to avoid before. So smart play to get that 3-man save to really make sure that they're in the best economic position going into this next round. And in true USA fashion, they come back to tie it up 14-15. Although losing Soju is probably not part of the Grandmaster plan, although with $6,300, he's not going to be too upset about that. Although it looks like Espath has a Galil, so that might not be ideal or what they were hoping to if they were going to try to buy up into better equipment coming into this round.
Oof. You know what? It's okay. They've done more with less. As you can see, that was a MAC 10 round for the most part, and they still made it happen. They still got it popping, and it looks like they're going to try and go back to their usual play on banana, bait somebody out, pick up a rifle, keep them guessing. And there's Soju again with that first pick over onto A. It seems that Iona knows that they're baiting out Banana, and they know that there's just some baits out over onto A side, but there's not much they could do about it.
And here they go with that aggression. They're really forcing the CTs to defend on both fronts, which we've seen is really, really dangerous, especially when you have several players on the map from both sides, frankly, that can really make that defense. And Connor is making his presence known for sure.
Hold on, but Che, he was hanging out in pit and they didn't know. They tried to take sight and they did, but they didn't fully clear it out. The positioning over from Che, hiding in pit, using those angles to his advantage to keep himself safe, and of course, with the trigger discipline, he kept him in the game. Aprizio, though, sees Private Bean coming for that rotation, doesn't let that one slip. Now they're in such a good spot right now to hold it down. Both players are going to be coming by Library through that angle, and it will be Red Wolf with the first kill, going in for a second, but Private Bean, he's doing so much as a body right there, and now we're looking over into Laprizio. He falls now too. It's up to Tiny T, the clutch king of this squad, to keep them in the matchup. He finds one, and now it won't be enough time for Iona to hold it down. Connor does get the frag, but he doesn't get the defusal, and USA, against all odds, are on match point.
And this is the nightmare scenario for the Iona College side. They're in a position where, well, they have some amount of money. It is not enough to get to the type of buy that they want to be in this position to try to force overtime. But with the buy that they have, again, we've said this over and over again, there's no way that you can count either team out at any given point in time. So we're going to see some of that aggression from South Alabama to try to test out exactly what their economy looks like. And see if they can try to close this out and go into the next game.
All right, Connor is holding it down. He doesn't have his tried and true op. Keep this one under control, and we got some MP7s and 2 FAMASs over on the side of Iona. Not looking great in terms of their weaponry and their firepower, and finally, we might have a full-on execute over onto B in the beginning of the round. With a good swing, Connor does find one, but he's traded out. And suddenly, this 5v5 has turned into a 4v2.
And in classic South Alabama fashion, they decided, sure, we've got the B site, but we don't actually want it. We're just going to go back to the other site and see what we can do there. And now they've been caught out.
No way!
Oh my God.
Che with the triple kill. They weren't expecting that.
Oh no. What a crazy position to be in. This is going to be our first overtime of the entire season now. So we'll see both of this playing out best of 6. Both teams will have 16K to start. And we're going to see if we're going to end up in this situation where they keep trading rounds back and forth until we, lose our minds to the inevitable 27th or 28th round for both sides.
Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that.
As much as I love Counter-Strike, there is a limit to how many games you should play in one sitting.
And we have a second map, not to mention. If you're gonna do OT, bring it on map 2, okay? You don't need to drag out map 1. This is their classic B maneuver, the Banana Boys of South Alabama. You already know what this plan is. Hang out on Banana. And then just wait for Soju to get a kill in apartments, but they're not playing that this time. They got a nice boost waiting for that final push. And as you can see, nobody has played in apartments. They're playing in pit. Nowhere by CT. So they're just waiting. They're baiting them out. Let them use all your utility. It's okay. We'll wait for you.
Absolutely. We'll see if this is kind of one of those classic setups or if they actually go for it. It seems like they're committing enough utility that we should expect them to at least try to get into the round. And because of that, choosing the CT rotate for support, and Dizzy playing from that flower pots position, able to just make it very difficult.
Oh, and there's Connor in the back with the op. He's holding it down, but now he's got some help from CT, but it isn't going to be good because Tiny T is on the flick. Connor with another one. Can he get a third? No. Xbox pushes him in the back, and Red Wolf sneaking through the smoke. He might catch somebody off when they're not looking away, and he does, and he picks up 2 and clutches out that round.
It was a great moment from Red Wolf really stepping up to continue in that position. I think one of the notable things about these two teams, and we kind of saw this in the difference between Marquette versus Villanova, Iona is pretty equal across the board, as you can kind of see by the kills being in that high 20s to 30s now at this point, where we definitely see the individual impact of Tiny on the USA side just continuously showing up in the places, and shows you playing a great second fiddle to that particular moment. And so when you're getting into these situations and you have these folks left off, it was really cool to see. It was really good to see Red Wolf being the ones to be in that clutch position to really make sure that they had their best chance at bringing that out.
Yeah, it's good to see Red Wolf come through because we've usually been looking at Connor or Dizzy's to get some good solid picks, but hold on, take a look over at Tiny T's kill count. It's without a doubt going to be that 40 bomb we've been hinting at, Viking, or at least I've been, because I knew it was going to happen. Not really, but
That's what I'm after. I'm here for the numbers. I want to see us pump all those stats up.
Of course, that's what OT is
interesting
for
us. Yeah.
OT
well, if we can get into
pattern.
our see, I think the longest game that I've ever been a part of went 50 rounds, which is insane, and I have never wanted to quit a game more badly.
Oh my god.
But we're not going to go that direction. We're going to stick around respectable 35, 36 rounds and call this a good day.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, if it gets upward to that level, I'm going to jump into one of the team channels and say, hey, that's enough. That's enough out of this.
Play harder or less harder. I don't know. We're certainly not putting our hands on the scales of justice and victory in this case.
No, of course not. We're just putting pressure on both teams to play as best as they can, but one does better, not equal.
Yes. All right, with the timeout over, we'll see the round start up again. No reason to continue postponing the overtime battle that we see play out in front of us. We're probably going to see, I would guess, if they spent that much talking, probably a little bit more of that trickery, maybe a little bit more aggression towards the A site, as we haven't seen a lot of that, as they tend to favor the B site pretty heavily. And we've got XPath already, looking up into that position, trying to get some rotates, and he sees ahead, and he misses the shot.
Oh, he does force Red Wolf out. Red Wolf almost walks into the fire. 6 health, and he does manage to kill Soju, who is that apartment creeper. And he keeps those apartments evicted.
Notably. And that was probably the worst way that could have played out. Just unfortunately, XBoth missing that pretty tough angle into the window position. And I don't think that Soju was ready for Red Wolf to pop out in the way that he did, and just ended up kind of losing out on that reaction time battle. And so now we're playing with one of the top 2 fraggers from USA being down. Whether or not that makes a difference is yet to be seen.
Comes the double molly, trying to get each other out of position. Dizzy's saving himself with a smoke and manages to escape the nade. Sending one back himself, might get a tag on somebody. It does slow the push. All 4 players sitting in banana, sending out the flashes. Here comes JaCrispy, looking to save himself from a self-flash. And going around that corner, Dizzy's there with the first kill. Forcing some other players, though, to run back. Dizzy find a second. We have his teammate Connor running back into construction, hanging out by coffins. He has that op, and he's so deadly with it. And a wall bang into the perfect position cuts USA down to 1 and now to none with Private Bean's flank. Second round in OT. Uh-oh. Are we going to get some BM? No.
That's one of those rounds where...
What? Oh, never mind. It's OT.
Okay. Well, why not? Might as well get one in.
I forgot they had that money reset.
Yes. And now we're here to see how this plays out and whether or not that death makes any difference, in the minds of our players, but certainly not in terms of their banks. So that round, again, one of those situations where it could have gone either way very easily. You saw USA just continuously chipping away at the health of Iona players, but in each case, they're just, whether it was Connor or whether it was Red Wolf, being able to escape with their lives and continuing to make impact throughout that round. Connor with that wall bang through coffins, just amazing impact for that particular moment in that last post-plant situation. Very difficult.
Now they're exploding over onto site. Red Wolf has fallen. Shay in that cheeky corner finds one, tries to play for his life, but he will not find a second. And now it's up for the retake from players coming around through Moto, through Arch. Dizzy's wants to get one. He gets a tag onto it, but he can't make that full commitment. The bomb has gone down. Now this is going to be quite a difficult retake for Iona, but maybe not as Private Bean opens things up. He escapes with his life, but not without a ton of damage being taken. Pop is coming through, and Connor, through the smoke, somehow finds the head of Tiny T, the clutch king for the squad. It's all up to XPoth, who is not there to hold it down. Now they will get that 18th round.
It's really starting to seem like the rounds are starting to wear on USA a little bit there. I think those are rounds that if we were looking at the beginning of this map, they probably would have gone the other way. I think you're just seeing a little bit of the spray control just going a little bit off. Just a couple of those things that are just the tiniest details, but they make such a huge difference when you're dealing with such slight margins on both fronts. So now as we switch over to the sides, USA gets to take the CT front. We're going to see, some AUGs and rifles and things, notably Tiny T on the op, trying to make a difference and an impact as we've seen before. We'll see Soju, we'll see Tiny T on that site, trying to hold down the B site, and we'll see if Iona College has learned their lesson about trying to attack the A site a little bit more readily and take advantage of the slightly weaker players in terms of the overall count.
I've been so used to the cheeky banana from USA, I completely forgot how Iona attacks.
Carefully into the left.
And, well, there was a lot of love shown to Jacrispy, and Lepizio sent it right back. And now XPoth is taking some damage over in pit. He is able to finish off Red Wolf, but Lepizio there for the assist. He finds a 2 in a lineup. Oh, no. Connor with the last one alive. It is a winnable situation. Doesn't know that somebody's in library. You gotta look to your left, potentially. No. Soju holding it down. He's not looking to your right. No, Connor. He can't clutch it out, and he was put in such a bad position, too. The lineup against his teammates running into sight, being taken down by Lepizio was too much.
Just more of those weird moments that seem to be happening throughout this map, whether it's team kills or random stacks or just like the craziest positioning just seemingly by accident happening in that round as well, and putting us in a position where it would not be unreasonable to assume that we're probably going to see another round or two out of USA before this is over. Although they are playing against Match Point right now, so if they don't get this next round, they will end up looking forward to Overpass, which is their pick. So we'll see whether or not they're successful in going into another overtime or whether Iona can close this out.
So they're getting a bit of little cheeky plays. They're not making any serious commitments. They want to poke through the defenses of USA, and they have some serious firepower to do it. Connor, with that op, he's got to wait for that smoke to dissipate if he wants to make that put to use. But at this point, they're just biding their time. But over on A site, they're making a commitment because only one player is there. It's XPoth in the pit, and now they are exploding over onto the site there. It's all up to XPoth. He's hiding in the pit, hiding behind that cart. Is he going to be able to hold on to himself? He does manage to get one, but they have to go in for the trade. And there it is coming through. It will be, I believe, Lepizio swinging around, and Soju is there for the flank as well on site, but he gets flicked by Red Wolf.
Red Wolf, our hero of the day. Apparently, he's been clutch in previous situations, comes back with that 2K. If he makes this 3, then Iona takes their first map, their map choice of note. But he's looking up the Titan of Tiny T.
The clutch king of the USA. That's such a cool title. He's coming through. He's coming through apartments. He's going to try and get that upper angle, that balcony shot. Pulling out the Deagle now, either for speed or just for safety. I don't know what he's doing it for. The Deagle's out. He's running onto site. He doesn't know where Red Wolf is. And Red Wolf, he's got to swing it. And he does. And Red Wolf clutches it out with a 3K to keep his team going. And Iona College takes map 1 of Inferno.
What an ending. That was an incredible end to that map overall. I think throughout this entire situation, we're looking at all these rounds round by round by round by round, we're seeing the same names pop up as huge impact players across every single battle that we're seeing. And just having that continuous fight, the closest match, obviously, that we've seen in all of the series that we've covered today, and something that just I think in some of those situations, it's easy to make that feel almost boring because you just kind of trade back and forth and back and forth. But man, the fashion in which some of these rounds have played out has been wild and continuously just puts me in that mind of just like explosions of my mind. So I'm hugely excited about going into Overpass when we do that, and I'm just excited to be sharing these moments with you, Los.
These are tender moments, Viking, for sure. Yeah, no, this has definitely been my favorite matchup of the night. It's so neck and neck. It's so good. There's both such good teams. Tiny T, the Clutch King, and Red Wolf, who's been holding it down for himself as well. Both of these teams are comprised of players who are giving their all right here for EGF, and it's looking so great. I cannot wait for match 2 on Overpass, but before we go there, we're going to take a quick break because, whoo, we need a breather, and so do the players. That was such a long map. We'll be right back in a few moments. Don't go anywhere. My oh my, what a first map of that series. Inferno truly was an inferno with all the hot plays coming out from Iona and University of South Alabama. Viking, what are we thinking going into Overpass right now?
I have no idea because, and I say that in the best positive way, because these teams have been so back and forth, round over round, in a map that traditionally is, again, as we talked about, core maps and things throughout the evening. It's expected that you should know how to do that, and the battle of attrition that we saw between those two, having some incredible, insane moments, was wonderful. This is the South Alabama pick this time around. So we're going to see if that makes an impact on how we're thinking about their advantage in things like strategy, because Overpass is a map that pretty common play, pretty common in most people's map pools, but it does have some more of that flexibility in certain things, especially as you're working around transition plays through the mid area, going down into connector and all those different areas that give you those things. So I'm excited to see what they come out with this, why it's the map that they picked over some of the others, and we'll see if Iona has a deep enough map pool to keep up with them.
Let's do it. The strats, the ideas have been laid out. Now let's get crazy with the blades.
And they went long. Interesting. I always try to judge teams by how well they can figure out the knife round, because I feel like there's some unspoken rules about where you want to end up on each map. But occasionally people just kind of, miss the memo and go somewhere else.
Caught it with the flank. He was hiding out, and now it's gonna be Red Wolf slicing and dicing as you always gotta be. What are they gonna decide to pick? I would always imagine whoever wins the knife round will probably pick defending first. That's just the common idea.
Yeah, I think that's where you would go on Overpass. It's one of those maps that has the the real benefit of kind of like what we saw with a little bit of nuke to a degree, and in some of the other earlier maps like quick rotates, which is a nice thing, especially when you're talking about like a vertigo. It's especially true here with only 10 or 15 seconds rotation time between the A and B site. So it definitely gives you the opportunity, if you're really concerted about those efforts, to make sure that you're able to take advantage of that and rack up as many rounds on the CT side as possible.
Yep, and actually, Iona will be jumping on over to attack. Interestingly enough, let's see if they've got what it takes to follow through with that choice of being attackers first, and what aggression they're going to bring on this pistol round to set the tone.
They are going without any utility, notably going into these first attacks, so they're just going to try to overwhelm with force. They're going to try to make use of the Tech-9 on private beat and see if they can take anything else, but those headshots coming out from Soju are going to say something else.
Oh, Soju holding it down from the barrels. He might find another one, and he does. A huge round for that pistolier Soju, picking up 3.
I think we can tell just sort of based on the synergy, if I could use such a word, between Soju and Tiny, that they obviously practice a lot of these things. We saw that on the B site, played out in Inferno. We're seeing that now again on the B site in this round, making it very difficult for the T's to pick up any type of advantage or benefit. And now we see that they're making again that really minimal investment into some P250s and a Tech-9. And if I'm USA, I'm just trying to get out of this, play back on our sites, not give them any of those weird angles by pushing up too far, and just make sure that we get the second round and look forward to the first couple of rifles.
Soju, while he is playing it with an SMG, it is a bit close. But, it doesn't even matter because nobody is by him. We find JaCrispy and crew over by short A. They gotta back up because Dizzy's moving through toilets. He might find one with that. And now he's got that UMP. Things are looking a little bad. They're gonna have to back up to Optimus, back up to site, and try and defend it because they can't lose any more weapons. With the M4, he's trying to spray through the fire. He finally makes a shot. Tiny T backing up through storage, trying to find an alternate angle, but he will return to get those shots back in. Once again, Xbox going to storage, holding it down through bank, and it's surprising, even though they haven't been getting any kills, they have maintained enough control of site to get a plant down. Soju finally here for the flank to shut it down and win this second round. They had to win that.
Iona definitely feels pretty good about the pressure that they were just able there to exert. I feel like that shows them that even in the position of advantage, when you saw Xboth, and I think it was Crispy playing the anti-flash position on the half wall there, uh, that there was a little bit of a hesitation in those rotations back to site. And at least, in that case, there wasn't a lot of counter nades and utility to push out in that position. But it definitely gives you the idea that they can get in those heads, they can create some of those problems. And if they're going to avoid the B side, like I kind of hope that they do, just kind of given the combination that sits between them and planting the bomb there, that they, could see a lot of success towards this A site.
Multiple players hanging out through playground, but we do have Dizzy's pipes. Oh, he does get the boosted Tiny T. That's a huge pick, and it creates a distraction. They don't know exactly where this attack will come from because we have a few players over on A long and one about to circle into short. Perhaps we will run into somebody else. Oh, Dizzy's goes up for that push into Canal, but it doesn't work out for him. He will be dropped, and they are going to maintain control on B site.
You have Lapizio very alone on the A site with Crispy playing in that connector area, kind of in that stare down with the T that's just sitting at the top of the stairs there. And now we're starting to see the rotation back to the A site. And that battle by Crispy is going to be huge because now they have the flank as they go over to that retake position of the bomb down.
Bad movement, unfortunately, by I believe it was Connor who went there, but Private Bean is holding it down onto site. Soju is walking on up the staircase. Now it's a little bit difficult for them to try and retake this. I don't know if Che knows he's by the truck. He's gonna jump through, and he will be okay because Che has backed off both of them in that corner. Wait a minute, someone's pushing up through. It was Che, and he got that frag to hold it down. Or actually, was it Red Wolf? I don't know. The overlay wasn't
Che
fun.
with an assist from Red Wolf. That
Che
was
with
a
the assist
very
from Red
difficult
Wolf.
position. Yeah, he did his best, and it was great to see that they got to that position at all in the first place. There was some great kills and trades and stuff going into the first part of it. But once you get into that position, if you can't find that early peak, especially because they just kind of missed each other as they walked past one another, it's so hard to sit in that position with the bomb down in front of Dice, where there are like 13 different angles that are really indirectly at. But Xboth showing that even with the Deagle, again, this team is still super dangerous.
Well, I mean, there was a massive aggressive push coming from USA, and they all ran up into playground, only to find that Iona had completely neglected to go there. They all went to B and got a free site, free plant, free almost everything at the cost of just one Dizzy's. Things are looking pretty okay. They are beat up a little bit, but they are holding on to their lives for now. But we have Tiny T swinging out through from those tunnels. I think he might be in a good position to try and create some chaos here. Canal is going to be Lapizio, but it doesn't work out. Private Bean picking up two and Red Wolf for the third. Iona College picking up a second round for themselves, but, nothing too crazy. It was just Deagles that USA was running with.
Yeah, and we're continuing on that very traditional path that we've seen over the last, almost 25 rounds, 35 rounds, whatever the math that we talked about being really good at earlier is relevant, and we're moving on past that. But we're seeing that trading back and forth between these two teams in exactly the same fashion. I think when we were on Inferno, there was never more than a couple rounds difference between the two, and that certainly is playing out in the first 5 rounds here.
Laprizio with that first nice MP9 kill. Oh, but it will be traded out by a nice one tap coming from Che. And this is another light buy round out of USA. Most investment in this was that MP9 buy. It did manage to get one kill, and Dizzy's is in a world of hurt right now with 8 HP. But nothing strong of a commitment right now. A couple players hanging out by Party. You do see another one making their way through Park as well.
I'd like to see Drew Crispy maybe playing a little bit further back on site, just sort of based on, what their health and equipment situation is. But at least in this case, especially because you are seeing a couple people creeping towards that long position, maybe he's going to catch them off because they wouldn't expect them to be there so late in the round, and maybe with a nade out. Oh no, he just misses the shot on Connor. That's a tough break. He almost had that with a little bit of timing that would have gone in the other direction. No problem. No doubt about it.
Well, looking toward A main, Tiny T does pick one up for themselves, and Xpop and Soju, if they manage to get a rifle in their hands, this is totally doable. And they have won! Soju, the overextension from Dizzy, just made this round so winnable. And both players are hanging out by A main, hanging out by toilets. If they could get those angles crossed off, which they know they're both at, they know they could win this one if they just get the angles right. He's sending over the AK to help his buddy, but he doesn't pick it up. Now, finally, it's going to be put to use. But who's in bathrooms? It's going to be Connor. And though Connor does manage to get one, Private Bean is out there for the secondary pickup.
Even in their individual kills, they are trading back and forth at every possible opportunity. And it was, again, like you said, there was a lot of utility out of those Deagles. They got into that position to succeed. They ultimately were not successful in taking the round, but they were able to make a pretty big dent in the economy. So we're continuing to see this just ultimate equalizer between both of these teams, where we're seeing pretty similar rounds. They're keeping both money piles pretty in check on either side, and now that we can see the CTs with their first proper full buy of the entire game at this point, I'm really kind of curious to see how the PTO uses that off.
Ooh, it doesn't start off too well, as that double stack to look into water is cut down. Both of those players take a hit, and the only one who's going to fire back is Laprizio with that op. Palm's going down. Things aren't looking too good for USA's first buy round. And in fact, I believe they're going to go for a save.
I think that's their best bet. I mean, they have an op, they have an M4. It's not going to be a great combination because no matter what, just sort of based on the money situation and the fact that they don't have full loss bonus yet, they're not really going to be in a position to buy up a whole lot around that. But if they can get an MP9 and they can play up in some of those angles, probably in the connector area, maybe play a little bit more aggressive, or get some of those late round kills, they could make a difference in how their overall chances for making this a 3-4 game might look.
Ooh, a lot of money on the side of Iona right now. They did manage to lose a life at the end while I forget who went hunting, but regardless, they
Connor.
they're rolling. They're rolling in the cash. Connor, that cheeky, aggressive boy, going crazy. You don't have the op, Connor. Don't get so crazy. Settle down.
It's true. Got to take it slow sometimes. He was trying to get the op is where he was going. He felt disconnected from it, and this was his opportunity to be reunited.
Oh, and here's a huge play coming from USA. Wow. The flank onto pipes from Canal. The double angle is giving them bomb and some great rifles to work with.
Yeah, just like that, the momentum switched. They got a little bit of that aggression. Soju, one of their tried and true leaders, coming up and really making a huge impact with that 2K, getting those rifles back in their hands. This is going to be a very difficult situation for Iona to come back from, especially with the bomb firmly in the grasp of USA.
This might be a reverse of last round. A 2-on-4 might as well just save the weapons.
I feel like we were almost reading off the same script as the end of last round.
Yeah, well, that means somebody's got to be over-aggressive. Maybe Soju seems like a play. Oh, Connor with the attempted flash.
It's just Connor again. I'm not entirely sure what he's hoping to accomplish with this challenge, but he's left it smartly, so they just have to burn off 20 more seconds off of the clock. It's unlikely at this point that we're going to see too much aggression from the CTs because they're not in a financial position to go hunting like we saw Connor do last time. They don't have that extra Skrilla in the bank, so they're just going to chill. They're going to let time run out, and then we're going to go back at it again and see if any difference in, I don't know, maybe Alabama will take a fourth round. We'll see a fifth round from Iona. We'll just kind of see that repetition happening, going back and forth.
That's it. We're not playing Counter-Strike here. It's ping pong.
Ping pong. Absolutely. Sometimes playing with different size paddles at different distances, but all still part of the same game.
The way you said ping pong made it sound like you didn't really enjoy my my comparison there.
Listen, I respect your use of analogies, and I believe strongly in your conviction around how we describe this game. So,
okay, all right.
If ping pong is what your heart says is right, then a game of ping pong is what we're playing. Damn it.
Well, let's see what play is going to come through Iona as they're making most of their players run through long. One player going to go around into short over here, but backs off, seeing as there is a thermal blocking off Bats. But, you know, that's not going to stop all of them. We see two players making their way up into toilets. And most of the USA, they've backed off, at least the ones defending A. They went on to A site proper, trying to just play their lives right now. No need to get aggressive. No need to be up there. But if they're up there, it's going to be Dizzy's to find them and take them down. JaCrispy the first one to fall, but we have that rotation. It's number 5, Tiny T, the one you want to have on your side in dire times, but he is the second one to take the L here. Laprizio with a nice up kill, but it won't be enough as Red Wolf jumping onto the truck is there to take him down and looking for that long-term flank. Soju will find Dizzy's instead.
That was a really rough opening kill onto the A site with JaCrispy leaving the op alone over on truck, and it just kind of spiraled out from there. There wasn't really, I think what was good about the start of that round is they were trying to be aggressive. They were giving the opportunities to get some of those early picks, because while we have seen some of that aggression, nobody's really extended particularly deeply into a lot of these situations. Like even in the connector, unlike here, what we're seeing, people pushing up to Fountain and seemingly catch Iona off guard. That was not the case in the last round, and having just that partnership that ultimately got broken on the A site was how that all kind of fell apart.
JaCrispy redeeming himself after the bad pick out from last round, but here's Dizzy's. Oh! On the perfect timing, catches him right as he's swinging out from that position. And now it's back to a 3v3. All equal except for Private Bean falling down a Tiny T. And he's got to back off and play his life. Both those players sitting by toilets. Or at least one is backed up. I believe it's Che watching the back angle. Hoping nobody tries to push through long. That's going to make it a lot easier for them now. Dizzy's takes out Tiny T. Last two players hanging out on A. One's in the back, holding it by the dumpster.
It's a tall order for Che. Seen him do things like this before, so it's not such an out of the question. But with almost 30 seconds down on the clock, he does have to start thinking about that commitment and clearing things as quickly as he can as he comes from the safe site, which is not friendly to a solo push.
Ooh, that flashbang makes it a little more difficult, but he finds what he finds too!
Oh my god!
Jay with the double headshot kills! He lands them and keeps Iona swinging in these rounds.
I am in awe of that movement. Those were such crisp shots by Che in that last round, taking what is a very difficult site to take, and taking advantage of the fact that South Alabama was just a little aggressive on the peaks there, trying to find something and close it out, no doubt, as they probably have some traumatic memories from overtime from the last round, but still just kind of giving themselves up just a little too easily and ultimately giving the round over to Iona.
USA's pissed here. They're sending out that pistol rush, and the same script has unfolded in front of us. Rush through A, and then Iona goes B. This is crazy timing. I guess they must have read, this team likes to rush when they're on eco. Just go B.
Why not? Put the round in the bank, see what you can do from it. Get if you have a couple of kills like Lapizio just had there, maybe you see some really great flank opportunities off of some of the angles.
Oh, okay, Lapizio, getting a little crazy there with the jumping deagle. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
It reminds me of that one crazy jumping hog shot that we saw earlier in, I want to say, Nova Marquette.
I believe it was Prod with the AUG.
Yeah, classic Prod. What a champion across the board.
At least on Nuke, that man did not give up ramp once.
Defend your home, as they all say.
Oh, Lapizio with that early one piece off the op. Che's gonna take the L right there. Now they're down a man so early into the round. When a pick like that happens, it just must give you a slight twinge, like, damn.
Yeah, you feel it in your bones just a little bit. And a second from Lapizio, jeez.
Well, things are looking quite nicely for USA, and JaCrispy and Lapizio both putting in some work, getting those frags in, helping them get out of this rut. The pistol rush was to push them or at least give them a little bit of distraction while they had it be so easily. And then, you know, on the flip side, they're going to get aggressive once they have that buy, but with real weapons this time, and it works out.
Yeah, I like that change of pace because I feel like before with Iona starting to rack up some of the rounds that they had.
Ooh.
Oh, Connor saying no, Fountain is mine, and you will not take it from me if you're going to try to get aggressive. And here I am just about to say that I liked that aggression because Iona had previously been controlling the pace pretty much at every turn, even late into the round. And that was the first instance of them really trying to take that fight to them. And they tried to do it. The second round, they got cut out from that because Connor was prepared, and this time, you know, with another op in his hands. You called him the ace before. He was certainly after the task to making sure that the path was open for his team.
Yeah, that aggression did not pay out dividends this time, especially the player who is hanging out in connector looking to get that shot was taken out from party, which was a great piece that they got through.
Oh no, the misclick
Fire as well. Unfortunately, he doesn't get that snipe. It would have been so crucial, so perfect. They're already in a good position in this 2v4 right now. It could have been even better to force out a save, but that's what we're going to end up seeing anyway. It's going to be another round over, but the question is Connor going to be able to make it that much tastier? And the answer is yes. Soju now giving up all hope, abandon all hope, all ye who enter underpass.
That's really unfortunate, especially as we talked, you know, at length about how Tiny has been such a huge impact player for where they ultimately got to on Inferno. And in this round, he's just been a little quiet. And I think a big part of that is because you're seeing a lot of that earlier round movement and momentum from Iona being shifted towards the A. They're trying to force any pick that they can, whether it's on long or in bathrooms, as we've seen, clear out connectors, and then ultimately, you know, they have free reign. They've had a lot of success on that A site, primarily because they know that Soju and Tiny, who have been, you know, kind of their own wall of attrition against anything, is just doing a really good job of making that happen. And oh no, Lupicio.
Way too far up, Lapicio. Way too far. You cannot play that aggressive, especially after what happened the last time you showed your face around Fountain. And now you pay the price once again because Red Wolf, he's not stopping anytime soon. Picks up a second, and now they know this is going to be a fast day. Tiny T on the off. He's going to thin the herd out a little bit. Going out for a secondary pick. Nothing going to find there until Che goes out for the peak. He's holding it down, holding it up for his team. We're all rotating over to A. At least back A. One bank, one by truck. How is this one going to play out? We're about to find out. If he moves through that gap, that's another off kill. Oh, with the not a no scope, the quick scope, and the rest of those squad had a simultaneous shot, giving USA another round.
I feel like Tiny must have heard what I was saying and decided, you know what? I'm sick of it. I'm here. I'm going to make that impact. And it just so happened that they finally had the right lineup for that op on long, where Iona actually made that decision to make that commitment. And now they're moving back towards the B site quickly. So we'll see if Tiny's able to stand up to the challenge on this side as well.
This is the perfect opportunity for him to utilize that op. Oh, that nade is not going to make him feel good. And by Toxic, it's going to be Soju who's going to pick up maybe 3. He runs out of ammo. Red Wolf shuts him down before he could do any more damage. Now the bomb is down. We're coming through water. It's going to be JaCrispy. And Xboth helps finish this one out. Another round for USA, 6-8.
It's going to put them in a pretty good financial situation going into the next round. You see here that they're going to be able to get a respectable buy out of this. And if they were able to kind of continue to vary what they're doing, I think that that's been the success. And now, of course, we're in the last round of the half. So in round 15, you know, you're kind of in this position. Can we get this to 9-6, or are we going to let ourselves go up 8-7? I think based on how we've seen these teams go back and forth, I don't think it would be crazy to assume that we'll probably see South Alabama take a 7th round here.
That may be true. You know, this is a very small amount of aggression, or very passive play coming in from Iona. They are spreading out to make up some moves onto long. You know, you want to have that control. It's such a big area. That's what they're going to get. If Red Wolf moves out, takes a look, but Laprizio back on the op, takes out Connor, who's hanging out in the party. Party's over, Connor. Laprizio playing for his life. He's going to get that frag and back on up. Tiny T not expecting anybody or not really seeing anybody just yet. Still has that op on deck ready for whatever may come his way.
I think you were starting to see a little bit more just comfort from the CT side across the last couple of rounds, a little bit more confidence in how they're attacking the different challenges that Iona is trying to put up against them. And that's put them in a really good position to be at a man advantage here at this last round. And I think that we can kind of see where Iona is on the map. They're flirting with that A site and hopefully committing to it, but whether or not they're going to be able to take that is still up for debate.
And now Red Wolf are starting to execute over onto A. No one has any idea if someone is on A long, and that will be the flank they're going to require, at least on the side of USA, to hold this site and keep themselves alive. But honestly, NT doing so well. It's going to be Xboth finally making their presence known. And it won't even matter because Soju cleans up Che, and that's going to be the half, 7-8. USA pulling it back from a little bit of a round deficit, keeping themselves straight up in this game.
Exactly how I think we all expected it to play out, just sort of based on, the curse of these two being in a forever dance. But I think it was a beautiful close to the round. I really like that Lepicio especially came alive in that last round, getting the 2K on the op to keep it there. Tiny following up with that, and Xboth, who had been pretty quiet for a lot of the last round, finally coming out and making sure that they were shutting down any potential aggression into that position. So now we'll see South Alabama move over to the T side and see whether they can keep up that momentum.
Okay, now Soju swinging around by Pillar. They're getting that bomb down pretty easily. It's not going to be any problem for them as they continue to try and defend this one. There are players coming through jungle. They won't make any moves just yet. They got to wait for the rest of their squad. They need that multi-pronged pressure. You see Soju looking right at water, waiting for somebody to come through. And now their faces will be shown from underpass. They're coming through. Connor and Tiny T, or Connor doesn't manage to do anything as Tiny T cuts him down along with JaCrispy. That was a well-held post-plant situation.
Very, very solid. I'm appreciative of the fact that they're starting off the second half with a very definitive statement. They kept as many people as they could alive. They have a reasonable buy going into this round, skipping the SMGs and going directly for the Galils, and really trying to make that statement, ensure that they're trying to stamp out as much potential opportunity for Iona to build up a little momentum of their own.
Soju coming through with this first initial peek out into water, maybe getting onto sandbags and just having free reign on B. Is anybody home? He's wondering to himself. Now realizing somebody has snuck past his defenses. Somebody is creeping through, not expecting to be found. Yeah, Xboth, he wasn't expecting anybody to come through and try and find him through upper tunnels, and now they're pinched. Now it's going to be interesting if Connor's going to be able to get out of here with his life. He's got 17 HP, and the pinch is ever coming closer. He's the Zeus, though. No. Oh, that would have been too nice if he gets to sacrifice himself in the name of that god.
A little bit of that rotation coming in as Xboth is still just chilling on a site that's still open. He was like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, just kind of walking in the site and being able to try out whatever bet he wanted for this period of time there.
Unfortunately, the Bears came home and they were pissed. Lepicio getting the bomb down, now picking up Red Wolf. One more player over in jungle. Let's see what you got, man. Jay, you're all alone. You got nothing to lose except a P250. Let's see some moves here.
He almost came close to getting that Xbox kill, which would have been worth something. I think if we've learned one lesson across this entire map and this entire series with them specifically, every single kill matters, because every dollar they have is going to come back to either help or haunt them as they continue to go on. We saw that play out in sort of the late rounds of Inferno, and certainly as we're starting to get into the mid part of the second half, that's going to come into play significantly more. And oh my god, Tiny's taking on the head of Dizzy with a scout in style.
Yeah, that's not a good start for Iona there. And certainly not going to continue to look any better. It's all up to Private Bean. Maybe he could catch somebody off guard over in Party. Oh, he does do it. Okay. I was looking a little suspicious if he was gonna land that one or not, but at least one kill is gotten.
Quick round, easy to go into the next one. USA up 2 rounds over Iona, which is kind of their turn at the momentum wheel, if you will. See if they can keep this up, keep up the momentum on the T side, pushing into some of these rounds. Now that Connor is on that op, depending on where he decides to sit with it and whether the T's end up in that position, that could be the difference in this round.
Connor being number 8, I think he's actually playing it quite back over on long. You know, that's the best position for it if they don't want to get crazy aggressive like Laprizio has been. And it cost him his life a few times, and Connor with the first pick, Dizzy's with the second. They're going to have to back up, hold on to their lives, because a 2 or a 3v5 is looking pretty nice as long as they keep themselves safe. Oh, a bit of a misplay from Red Wolf, but he actually turns it out into a good kill. Now it's a 5v2. Things aren't looking too good for USA, but actually turning it right around. It's X-Pop on that headshot to Red Wolf, who was sitting over in Toxic. Fake the defuse, or the plan. Actually, somebody else is doing it. Now they got it down, and now this is a contestable round at this point. Well, just as I said that, both frags come in simultaneously, giving Iona that round.
It certainly was there for a time. I think you saw a little bit of panic from Xbox as he wasn't really sure where to expect people coming from as he was trying to protect his fellow T trying to get the bomb down. So the fact that they got the bomb down gives them a little bit more cash, gives them more freedom coming into this. We're going to see the Krieg come out from JaCrispy here, a couple of AKs, and the op on Tiny. So I don't know that we'll find Connor and Tiny opping against one another, which is always a fun battle to see. But it does give them a little bit more freedom to take some of these longer battles that they've so far avoided.
That boost over into water, not going to spot out anybody. They're going to have to back off from that one. This is a super slow play from USA. They do have guys over in Canal looking through Monster. Going to have to drop that bomb so they don't risk anybody knowing where they're going. Ooh, there's the first peek. And nobody gets any damage, but they do pick up some information on USA. Ooh, Lupicio with that first kill onto Dizzy's. There's a bit of a skirmish happening by Party and Toilets. I think Private Bean knows somebody's in connector. He's got to watch himself. Connor with another kill across the map, holding it down from Heaven on B site. Soju joining the rest of his team. They can try and get onto site right now. We have JaCrispy over in Canal. Looking to make something happen. Xbox will be flanked by Private Bean. Private Bean knew somebody was going through connector. He knew somebody was going to be in water, and he had that perfect placement. It caught him completely off guard. JaCrispy does manage to get the plant down, but he can't get anything else. Now it's back to that equalizer. 10-10. Iona College swinging back that momentum. This is such an evenly matched squad.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I did get what I wanted. I saw Tiny. We missed the battle, but Connor did get taken out by Tiny in that last round. So there was a little bit of a matchup on the T side in terms of the ops and where they were going. But we're back to some of the basics. You see the Mat 10s come out on the T side. You'll probably see some hard aggression towards one side or the other, just trying to take over one here. And now with Connor sitting it long, they will hope to avoid that because, boy, do we know that Connor can do some serious damage.
Soju, the first test subject, or potentially not, with the Mac 10. Oh, he's going to learn real quick that you cannot go up long without facing the wrath of Connor's op. Oh, he missed the second shot, but he can't get a third either. Oh my God.
Did he get it? Did he manage to get it up over the wall?
I don't know if he managed to do it, but it doesn't even matter because the follow-up from the rest of the squad is going to be pristine. Even though Connor only could get one frag, the rest of his team was able to flank through Toilets and clean them up.
That was another one of those moments that we've seen so many of across these series where I find myself holding my breath and just kind of like biting my metaphorical fingernails trying to figure out what the hell is happening and how is this happening and what is going to be the outcome of this. And seeing that desperate attempt by Connor to get rid of the op was it's kind of reminded me of when a wide receiver keeps their feet in bounds as they make one of those insane catches. it was just that kind of self-awareness of what they were doing to try to keep that out of the hands of the USA side. And now that we come into the next round, we get to kind of see that up again with already the loss of Tiny and already Red Wolf starting to spray down all of his friends.
Private Bean was looking for that flank, but he doesn't even need to do it because the rest of his squad has got him covered. It's Red Wolf, and now Dizzy's... Oh, doesn't manage to stay alive right now, but there is a flank over on Canal, and jumping in to get that peek, it's going to be Lepicio, but he doesn't manage to beat out Private Bean. You can't beat the Bean.
And it's notable now that while the money is pretty uneven on the CT side, they do have significantly more of it than the T sides do. So as we have talked about in the previous map, the deeper we get into these later rounds, especially when you get towards that like 12 round area on one side or the other, you have to start thinking really critically round by round, are we going to be in a position to potentially take one or the other? And this aggression, getting rifles in there, is exactly what USA needs to do to make sure that they're taking the most out of what they have.
Oh, that was not a good initial take, or at least initial fight back from Private Bean, flashing his own teammate Red Wolf, who's the first to fall. Now, they do have a great opportunity for this retake because they're working with pistols mostly. They've lost the rifle that they initially had on Private Bean, making their way through Sandbags, about to push through, but that Instant will stop him in his tracks, but it doesn't even matter. The follow-up from Dizzy's keeps him going.
It was another close end of the round too. I mean, you see the health on the CT side, you know, even considering the pistol opportunities, those are a few bullets away from a USA victory.
Come on, Dizzy's, where's the kit, bro? You guys have so much money.
Yeah, you can't have 16K on Private Bean and not have kits across the board.
You got Moneybags Bean over there. Hoarding the wealth. Come on, man. You can get a buy. Get a kit. This is not one of those times where you could be stingy on that. There's so much at stake right now.
Listen, he's got college to pay for. He's saving up every dollar that he can and just trying to make sure that you know, he has the opportunity to put one foot in front of the other and keep those feet moving.
Well, you know, at the very least they secured the round, so that's fine. If that cost him, that would have been the most ridiculous round loss. I'm gonna say, even though it's the first stream, EGF CS history.
Yeah, well, I think that definitely goes to a couple of the players that we've seen today, especially Tiny and Migs, just across some of the insanity that we've seen. And now the same opportunity is here in front of Iona College to potentially go up 2-0.
Xbox moving through Monster. He knows somebody's at Toxic, but he doesn't want to make that full commitment, not just yet. He has to make sure that he will be safe, at least for the swing. Doesn't want to do it yet, but Red Wolf is going to make the decision for him and push it up. If you can't make that decision, somebody else is going to make it for you. And that's why Che, as well as the rest of Iona College, are looking real spicy right now, forcing a timeout for USA. They certainly need it. University of South Alabama, they've been losing their grip on this match. They need to have some time to rethink their strategy.
I feel like in that last round, I saw just a hint of what we saw in Inferno, where, you know, they started off in one direction, went the other, kept going back and forth, and really managed for at least a couple of times to keep Iona off of their game. We haven't seen as much of that in this round, despite the fact that there's still the opportunity, assuming that you take Water and Connector, to go between the sites in the same direction. But I think the difference is that Iona just has this ability between long and B, primarily from Toxic, just to continuously take those initial picks and make USA really question the decisions that they're making. So across, as we're thinking through these different strategies that they might be talking about, I think part of it has got to be to play a little bit more across that mid, maybe take stronger control of Water, Connector, or otherwise play maybe up around that toilet area, just to try to get something different out of it. Because I think, again, just sort of based on the setups that we've seen from Iona on either side, they have kind of the read on where USA has been so far, and they've just been continuing to try that same sort of thing, hoping that they'll win some of those mechanics battles.
You know, they got to do something different, but it's going to be so difficult, especially if they lose this round and get to match point. Their economy is broken. They are going to be ending up on match point with Deagles probably if they aren't able to come through and clutch out this round.
I'm on the edge of my seat thinking through what they might be talking about and whether they have some sort of crazy last minute bonkers thing that we can see. This is, of course, the map that the Olaf boost came from. So, there's certainly a history for some weird stuff to happen. So I'd like to see some aggression, maybe some varying, some tit for tat, some weird nades. I don't know what it is, but obviously, as we're staring down the 15th round and the inevitability of another potential overtime, I would love to see some craziness out of the USA side.
Well, what's the move right now? 2 up to tunnels, 3 over to monster. Maybe someone going on their way to water. Actually, 1 in tunnels. Let's see if Crispy can make some sort of play happen in connector. Nobody has really had too much of an impact in that position yet, unless it was a flank. In an outright attack so far, there hasn't been any major use of connector, I believe.
Agreed. Seeing some of those early flashes, the counter rotations that moved over, trying to get a little bit of information where they can. They know that they have 2 players in water now, at least from what they've seen. So you're going to see a little bit of that movement, a little bit of that favoring towards the B side. And great shot from Lupicio, but immediately answered by Private Bean.
Now, Private Bean, you gotta be careful, man, because Tiny T, he's getting behind you. You have no clue, and that's what it's all about. Connector is always used for flanks.
Tiny has been so quiet for a lot of this to happen. It's nice to see his name back up on that kill feed, making an impact, especially when so much is on the line.
Red Wolf down by sight. He's trying to be careful. That Ensign might make a move around, but actually he's going to be in a safe zone. If somebody pushes up to him and he gets that initial shot, might be dangerous. He's going around, finds the kill on Xbox, over on Xbox, and now has the support from his team. Connor picks up a second, but he will be traded out, as well as Che. Now it's Red Wolf. He can't clutch it out, though.
USA clutching victory from the jaws of disaster at that point. I think they just didn't expect to have a player so close playing up in that water position that was able to prioritize as they should to take out the bomb planter, and Xbox just was a sitting duck. There was nothing you could do about it. And then immediately after that happened, there was a little bit of a frenzy, and you just kind of got the opportunity for at least a few seconds that USA was quite frazzled. And so as they were able to bring it back, they were able to clean it up despite a little bit of that last round tension that we've certainly come to know and love both of these teams for.
Without a doubt, and that was a bit of an exchange right there with Lupicio. Didn't get out with his life or even damage onto his counterpart. Crispy here, looking to get that, what am I saying, Viking? That connector flank. Through it, and it's gonna be Connor. He wins the fight with the op. Oh no, not looking too great right now. They don't have much control. And it seems that Iona knows that. They've pushed them all the way back into upper tunnels, and nobody is in connector at this point. At least it's been cleared out by Connor, so they know it has to be a B hit. That's why the rotation is coming through, but you gotta watch your back because they are making their execute as we speak. And oh no, in a matter of milliseconds, the entire offense from USA crumbles. Iona College on match point. The Zeus is out, baby.
This is a rough position to be in for sure. This is USA's map pick, and they find themselves down after what has been such a close back and forth with a couple rounds going towards one side and then the other. And now they're facing an elimination and a potential 2-0 start, which, to be fair, doesn't really give credit to the amount of work that both of these teams have put in to see such a simplified number really characterize all of it. But we've seen some great stories from these players, and now it's really up to USA to try to avoid some of those early picks from Connor, who's just been so dangerous.
No, and a second one follows on to Soju with Dizzy's, who has that second kill, but watch out behind you. You're about to get flanked by Private Bean with the knife! Oh, that is insult to injury for USA and Iona. They know they got him cornered. They know they got USA's backs to the walls. We might even see a continuation of the Private Bean mean streak as he continues looking through on short, but he gets flanked. Crispy's on the other side. He wasn't expecting them to be pushed up so close, and now they're making their way through short. Going past Toilets. They have to somehow try and execute onto A side if they can find the first one, but no, Dizzy's is going to pick up the first, and Jay follows up with the second, giving Iona College the win 16-11 after going through overtime and clutching it out on Inferno. Iona College comes back once again and seals the deal in real time before they even need to get into overtime. Whew.
I have loved that end to the story. I think that as we've been talking about, it's been such an entertaining match back and forth to see these teams doing what they do best, trying to make sure that as they were thinking through their strategies, that they were making every single dollar count, every bullet, every weapon, every decision that they make to go one direction or the other. Ultimately, unfortunately, Alabama falls short in both maps, and they're going to go down 2-0. But compared to some of the other matches that we've seen, we've talked a little bit about how important that round difference is as you think towards standings and ultimately where that ends up towards the end of the season. So they do have some good foundational work on it. And I think that as we've seen, if we checked out some of the other stream matches over the course of today, they are in a very competitive position. Both of these teams are.
Yeah, no. Even though one team has to come out as the victor, I think you said it earlier, the numbers don't do the justice to show how hard USA had worked, how hard Iona College had struggled to fight against them. We went into OT. It was such an insane first map on Inferno, and the insanity continued over onto Overpass, and some great star players coming out of both of these rosters. And I want to see the continuation of both of these teams throughout the EGF season. These are some real stars here.
I agree. I think we've definitely seen a couple people, especially of notable names, as we've seen. They just do some amazing work. And I am sure that as we're thinking about interviews, which we have coming up in just a second, that Tiny T will definitely be one of those people that we have a chance to talk to in the near future. And with that, we're going to go to a quick break. We're going to bring in Dizzy from the Iona College team. We're going to hear a little bit about what's going on in their head, and then we'll close out for the night. So don't go anywhere. Grab a drink of water, whatever, stretch, and all that good stuff. And we'll be back in just a few minutes.
And welcome back, everybody, in this post-match breakdown. Oh my god, I'm still so excited that we got to witness such an amazing match between Iona and USA. And to walk us through that victory, we have brought along Dizzy's coming over from Iona. Dizzy's, how are you feeling, man? After such a long match, you came out on top both maps.
I feel great. After that first match, we really had a good morale going into the second match, and we were ready. We knew we were gonna win.
You're thinking through kind of that first map. Obviously, we've talked about this almost every other round at the back and forth that we've had between South Alabama and yourselves. Did you have a particular way that you were kind of thinking through that overtime? And as you got through that, obviously you came out the victor. Did that shift any of the ways that you were thinking about Overpass, knowing that that was USA's map pick?
Um, we were pretty comfortable going into the second match. After the first match, we were able to go over little things that we were at fault at, and second match we were more put together. I feel like than the first match, and we
Mhm.
were able to come out on top.
What do you
Speaking
think? Sorry, go ahead,
Oh,
Liz.
sorry. Speaking of the first map, according to your pre-season media package, Inferno was labeled as your worst map. Were you expecting to actually find success going into that one?
So we actually did a scrim this week and played Inferno, and we went over a lot of mistakes we did on Inferno and what we went wrong and how we played well together, and we were pretty comfortable going to Inferno this game. We actually wanted that over anything else. So I think we were able to get that practice in that we were able to get a couple weeks ago, and came out on top.
Great to hear. I was kind of curious as you were talking about sort of that transition and cleaning up a little bit of those things going into the next map. Obviously, if we're looking at Inferno, it was almost 1-to-1. You trade rounds back and forth, and it was almost predictable where that was going to end up. But as we got into Overpass, there was significantly more rounds strung together by both sides. So as you were making that transition, what do you think was the difference that led you to that success compared to that round trading in Inferno?
I think we on the second game we were able to read each other more, and we were able to get each other on sites where in the last in Inferno where we couldn't really we didn't have those moments where we were put together, and this game was just we were just more compact, and I felt we were more comfortable.
Very fair. That certainly made all the difference. And obviously, in both cases, it worked out really favorably for your team. So, as you're thinking about going forward, you've got, obviously matches coming up next Friday. Next Friday, you'll be playing against Colorado, who had an incredibly dominant showing against St. Peter's on the other stream. Have you started doing any scouting on that? Have you started thinking about it, or are you changing your plan of attack at all?
Um, So the past couple weeks, we actually haven't been able to practice since a flood in our gaming room, and we just started getting back into practicing. So now we're just going to be going over more game plans and how to attack sites better because we really don't have the best game plan as you can see. But now that we're back into practice, we're going to be able to get those little things off, and our smokes, our utility use, definitely going to have a better show out the next game.
That's excellent to hear, man. Well, you really showed out in this series, and I'm expecting great things from you heading into the future of this league. So, congratulations on your win, and good luck in the future.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks
Thanks
so
for
much,
taking the
man.
time. Whew. Well, folks, that was a great series of matches here tonight for the EGF Week 1 of the Counter-Strike season. I would say it's a great kickoff event, wouldn't you say, Viking?
Absolutely. I think we saw some really incredible moments, some things that are absolutely notable. And again, it has been a dream of mine to see Counter Strike in our league for the last 6 years. So, this is an excellent way to create that maiden voyage. Maiden voyage. And see some of those names that we'll be able to watch over the coming weeks. And next week on the first stream, we'll see some of the teams that we missed on stream 2 over on EGF CSGO, which you should definitely go check out and follow if you love our CSGO action. I will be able to see some of those teams and how they're doing next week. So I'm excited to see everybody back and very excited for, getting through the next 7 days as fast as we can.
It's looking to be a great season and a great league, but that is going to be wrapping it up for all of us here from EGF. So thank you to everyone who showed up and showed out in these servers, in these matches, in the chat, all the fans at home for coming through. Of course, Thank you, Viking, for being a great co-caster, and as well, shout out to Laggy-san, our producer, who killed it over there on that production end. But until then, folks, there's plenty of EGF action all week long, so you don't have to worry about missing us until next week. You still got more to watch. And until then, we will catch you next time. Thank you, and good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.